Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Yoruus speaking and welcome to the summary video for multiplayer game number 141. As usual, spoiler alert, if you do not want to know how the game went, do not watch this video. But yeah, don't watch this video and go watch the game. But if you do want to watch the game, watch this summary. And you do want to know how the game went, or you already watched the game and you want to hear me theorycraft a little bit, then I invite you to watch this video. God damn it, Miura. And Miura's comment. Don't worry about Miura, I'm sorry. Twitch chat takes out of the place a little bit. Why is it only on source Drew Peacock? Because I'm a small Twitch channel and Twitch does not give quality options to small channels unless there's not too many partners streaming at the same place. So okay, let's get on with this. So this game was played on 3rd October. I've got in this game Mr. Shumi playing as Yoruus, Babayeri playing as Persia, Kufert playing as Celts, Lucky Strike playing as India, Kex Panda playing as Egypt, and we rolled Netherlands. Well, we rolled Netherlands. The Twitch viewers, I'm looking at you Miura, chose Netherlands for me, though I do believe the other picks were not that great, if I remember correctly. But anyways, we rolled Netherlands and we rolled this start. And I was like super amazingly happy. I was super amazingly happy with this start. At least it looked awesome. Okay? I'm spawning on a hill. On a desert, which is great, with potential tree polders, which does not happen that often on Hellbrazer map script to Netherlands, because there's some strange things still. There's some still strange things about like marshes, but this is flat plains, so this is not like a matter of marshes. But if you land on like a grassland land, I think like marshes do not spawn that much, but probably Hellbrazer could explain the details a little bit more better than me, because I have absolutely no clue about all the coding into the map script. Anyways, this land looks awesome. We've got 5 sea resources that I could potentially use at my capital. I do have theoretically Petra dream potential, and I do have 3 polders, and I'm on a coast as well, and a pretty well defendable coast from frigate attacks, and also a pretty good spot that you can defend later on with battleships. So I was really happy with this start. But there's one thing that, well, basically like 90% of the time, and this is already a good point, what's going on in here. Basically, I'm building a worker. I said to myself, I was like, okay, this city demands a Petra. Okay, this is such a beautiful spot that this city demands Petra, and now 90%, I always say that 90% of the time when I try to go for Great Library into like Hingaden's Petra, I fail miserably. I think like only 10% of the games when I actually go for Great Lib is successful if I try to rush it. And I was like, but this is like, this start like demands Great Library, right? This start demands Great Library, and I was like, if we can get Petra in this city, in this capital is going to be insane. So I went for Great Lib, but I did make a huge mistake, in my opinion. Well, actually when I was playing, it sort of felt like a good idea, because most of the time not too many people go for Great Lib. I'm like, why would they in such a lobby? I'm like, we've got Persia, okay, there's Egypt already, okay, fine, but we've got like Persia, Zulus. Like, going for Great Lib is very risky in this lobby at the moment, but okay, for me it would be like amazing if I could get it. So I made one huge mistake in here. I'm trying to pump out a worker. Now I think this was the biggest mistake that I made with this attempt. What I should have done, instead of actually cranking out the worker, I probably should have first of all, do not work the sheep. I do have a sheep in the capital, right? That I am starting to work in here. I should build something. I should build a military unit. I should build a warrior or two warriors or a scout, and try to find a city state to ask for a tribute, right? Ask for a tribute, so I have a little bit of gold to buy tiles and get some options. And instead of actually getting a worker, which will not boost my hammers into Great Libe, I should have just waited for pottery. Shrine wouldn't be an option, could be an option to time shrine into granary, into writing, but I made a horrible mistake in here and I built a worker. I don't know what came into me in this particular game. I'm like, I rushed successfully Great Libe so many times. I'm like, it was not always like a problem for me to grab a Great Libe. I'm like, a worker could be useful if I would have chops for forest, but I didn't have really chops for forest. I had 0 forest, so worker is greedy. Worker is greedy. Like, worker is okay. So what can I do with a worker? I can improve sheep, but that sheep only gonna give me food. So it's like, this is greediness basically speaking through me in this particular game. Not only I don't go for shrine, I go for a worker, which is just like, oh. So what happens next? What happens next is I do build a shrine because, you know, a lot of desert. Then I finish off the worker. I've got 2 scouts and 1 warrior, so no options for tributes really, and there's no city states that are really close that I have found. And I go for Great Libe. I use the gold to actually buy the sheep, and this is how it looks. This is what I'm working right now. So I'm going for Great Libe, like 13 turns Great Libe, because I do have a worker that's gonna start improving the sheep basically. And it also moved the wrong way. Again, greediness. I'm like, I scouted the side of the map, and of course the barb camp spawns there when my scouting units went off there. And the worker wastes time right now, though theoretically it does not waste that much time, because I will be starting to improve a sheep here as soon as I'm gonna hit animal husbandry. But because I do not have a granary and I do have a worker, it is not helpful to speed up Great Library in here. It's absolutely not helpful. And I did have writing first. I think I had writing like 2 turns before anybody else. 2 turns, or at least 1 turn, I believe. But I didn't build granary. Now, if you rush Great Library, you really want a granary, because you can work more hammers in your capital. Even if you go tradition, like tradition food kicks in later on. So you've got a granary, you can work an additional hill. In my instance, if I would have a granary, I could be working a sheep, and I would be +1 food. And when I would have food from tradition, I could have +3 food, and I will be still growing. So I'm going for Great Library, but I'm doing it horribly wrong. And I have bloody no idea why am I doing this wrong in this particular game. What was the thought process in my brain that I went for a worker first? I'm like, I don't know. I can't explain that. I guess I assume that worker is going to be better because it's going to start because I was trying to, hey Shumi. So I was trying to get, like, not only mistakes, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking really. So of course what happens, and you already can see on screen Shumi's explanation, and there you go. With this land, yeah, he had 2 sheeps, he had wheat, 2 sheep, 2 copper, and 3 population for ruin. And he went for Great Library through animal husbandry, bought a worker with gold from tributes. This is exactly what I'm talking about. if I, instead of trying to build up a worker, you can build up a military unit, hope for maybe a spearman upgrade, but even with like 3 warriors, you can tribute city-states quite easily. And use that gold to do something. So, it's just like, and this is exactly what happens. What happens is I miss Great Library by 2 turns. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that Great Lipe? Where is that Great Lipe? Where's the turn with Great Lipe? 3 turns. I believe it was like next turn. 2 turns. 2 turns. Okay, so it was next turn. Definitely not same turn. That's 2 turns. There we go. Great Lipe has been built in a different part of land. So, yeah, exactly what Shumi says. I'm like, I really don't know. I'm like, I really don't know why it's like, it was a total mess up on my side. I'm like, I don't know what happened in here, really. That I thought that like a worker is gonna be helpful in here in an attempt for Great Lipe. So I'm missing Great Lipe by 2 turns. 2 turns. I'm like 2 turns. Probably Shumi would also beat me, even if I would do this correctly, because I doubt I could shave off 3 turns. I would need to shave off 3 turns. No, I'm not gonna play today, Magazowski, because I'm going to work in... Yeah, I need to get up in 7 hours, and I have to go to work. So for me, playing a free for all would mean all-nighter, and no. No. If I would be earning a lot of cash by playing at night, maybe I would, but no. No. Yeah, maybe worker into marble masonry with Republican aristocracy, maybe, but in this particular game, that everything like my idea worked horribly. So I would need to shave off 3 turns. I would need to shave off 3 turns from Great Lipe to actually beat Shumi to it. And his option, not only he's got the host advantage, he did it properly. So instead of building a worker, he built more military units, and this is something that this is like top column is not visible. Okay, let me fix this. Thank you. Alright, that's a good shout. Thank you very much. There we go. Better. Is it better? Should be better, right? Or it's still messed up a little bit. Maybe use this. Now it should be okay. How about now? Now it's okay. Almost perfect. Alright, thank you, Miura. So, I'm missing Great Lipe, and I'm like, no! I'm like, no, this is like, oh, look at the, I'm like, can you see this guy's face? Can you see this guy's face? And like, he was like, oh, it's like, no! So, what do I do? I'm thinking like, okay, we missed Great Lipe, fine. But still, like, maybe, just maybe, we can get a Petra, right? Just maybe we can get a Petra. I'm like, nobody went really for the Desert Pantheon. Like, I'm already committed into this. I've got a lot of barbarian problems. How do I salvage this, right? How do I salvage this? I'm thinking like, I need to try to go for Petra. one way or the other. I'm already behind on all the timings because instead of a great library I could have like 4 cities already. This is like the price you pay. Okay, 4 cities is an over exaggeration, but I could have 3 cities already building stuff. And the map looks a little bit awkward. I'm on coast, so I don't really want to go inland. There's Liberty Egypt here. Lucky Strike is, I don't know in this moment of the game where is he, but he's somewhere around in here. And I basically don't know where all the other players are, but I'm figuring out that I'm sort of in the middle of the map. I'm sort of in the middle of the map, which means I don't really want to expand into the middle of the map where I have a coastal capital. I would rather expand into the coast, and at the same time I don't really want to expand into Kex, Liberty Kex, because I won't be able to reinforce the land there. But I know I need an extra city. I really need an extra city in this. I can't go OCC into Petra right now without extra city. So what I'm trying to do right now is like build up food, build up all this stuff, and try to go for Petra. But again, it's like it's just not going that well for me in this game. So I got a settler, I got a granary, I got a water mill. I did build some additional units, and I'm losing gold right now. Okay, look at those timings: 11 turns, -6 gold, and I do have hanging gardens on 8 turns. Preferably, Petra should go like when I'm gonna finish hanging gardens. I do get hanging gardens. Okay, I do get hanging gardens. Let's go to the next video. I do get hanging gardens, but because I'm losing gold, okay, because I'm losing gold. Oh, this one's not gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna work. All right, good. But just because I'm losing gold, my timings are off. My timings are off. There we go. It's like 2 turns, and still 2 turns, and the hanging gardens were finished this turn. Okay, I'm 3 turns off of Petra timing. I do have hanging gardens, but I was losing gold, so I was losing science. And okay, I'm cranking out 2 workboats in 3 turns. And you know what that means? You know what that means? You know what that means. You know what that means. That means that I lose Petra. Where's that particular turn? Basically the dream cap is dying on me. Where is that turn? This is like a 4-hour video. We skipped too much. It's like one of the most horrible views ever. There we go. This is it. This is it. 3 turns Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Petra 2 turns. Petra 1 turn. Okay, let's play this up. There we go. Okay. Petra 1 turn. Petra 1 turn. And you can imagine what happens. Next turn, Shumi takes away Petra from me, from this capital. Okay? And I'm like mentally destroyed. I'm like mentally destroyed by this situation. Because it's just like, it's almost like horrible. I'm on 2 cities. I'm tradition, 2 cities. I miss Great Library and I miss Petra. All of those things are basically my fault, though I could imagine. Can we play a live video from that point? I guess we can. Okay, what can we do? Can we like save this in any way, shape or form? I don't think so. Without Petra, this is awkward. Yeah. Sucks. Okay, what's the next option? NC, cargo ships, all the other stuff. Yeah, and Shumi is like, he's like, so who's the guy with the desert Pangea? Like, who's the guy with the desert? Who's the guy with the desert pantheon, right? And like Shumi is like, I'm sorry to the person who has desert pantheon. Like, I'm sorry to the guy who has desert pantheon because you're not gonna get Petra anymore. You have no chance. I'm like, ugh. Anyways, I lost Petra. So, Great Lipe, probably whatever I would do, I wouldn't get Great Lipe because not only I made my mistakes, but I would need to shave off 3 turns of Great Lipe. I'm not sure if I would go for workers and a granary, like, you know, warrior, scout, warrior, shrine, granary into Great Lipe, and hope for some tributes and start improving stuff. And maybe even going aristocracy instead of going for food. I don't think that I would be able to shave off 3 turns of Shumi's excellent starter. I'm like 4 pop capital, making Great Lipe with a host advantage and tributes and a lot of good stuff. I'm not sure if that would cut down my Great Lipe 3 turns back. Maybe, but I'm not sure. So I definitely messed up my attempt at Great Lipe, but even if I wouldn't mess up, I'm not sure if I would have it. That's like the first, so, well, that's bad luck. But Petra, that was a huge mess. 3 turns. I lost 3 turns because of science, because I was losing gold. 3 turns. So Petra, I have absolutely no excuse for Petra, okay? No excuse. This is all on me, all my fault. So this is a mess. Now, this is a mess. I'm losing all of the crucial stuff. I denied myself additional cities, and I'm in a horrible shape. I've got nothing. On turn 60, I've got literally nothing. Okay? Just like nothing. I've got 2 cities with 1 library in hopes to like get cargo ships rolling and getting NC. I can't plant more cities right now. I can't really plant more cities because the NC time would be so horrible. It's like beyond belief. So I was thinking like, what can I possibly do in this game to like salvage this? I'm like, I can't really expand. I don't want to expand south, though. This is like a beautiful spot. I don't want to expand south because I will be bordering Liberty Persia. I don't want to expand west because there's like Liberty Egypt there, right? I have nowhere to go. I can't fight on land with Liberty, guys, with like missing Great Lipe and Petra. I would be like suiciding. So in my brain it was like, okay, I know basically where the players are. So I don't know where Celts are. I haven't met Celts, but I was kind of figuring this out. So I know Egypt is here. I know Egypt is here. I know Lucky Strike is here. And this is like a very, very awkward situation here because we've got Egypt, Liberty, Kex, and we've got Tradition, India, Lucky Strike. I knew the outcome of this situation in here. I knew the outcome of this situation very, very early was going to happen on this side of the map. Lucky Strike would get eaten. Just like eaten at some point of the game. I was like saying somewhere in the middle of the game, I was like, Kex doesn't even have to do anything with so many cities. Kex had like 9 cities and Lucky Strike had like 3 cities. And I'm like thinking like, no, Kex doesn't have to really do it. He doesn't even need to kill Lucky Strike because Lucky Strike will never be in a position to compete with Kex. Never ever. So this side of the map is done in my brain in here. Now this is the other side of the map and we've got Liberty Persia and Tradition Zulus. So I'm thinking like, okay, there's going to be trouble in between them 100%. So what can I do to like do something at least? And in my brain, Shumi, that city would die later in the game. I stand by my choice. So in my brain is like, I can't fight on land. There's no way. My capital is reasonably defendable by frigates against crossbows, right? Because I've got like, I can put a frigate inside of my capital. I can put frigates all around in here, so they can shoot on this hill, they can shoot on this hill. This hill can be shot. This hill, and only this hill can be shot, you know, like by the city. But the rest of the tiles, can be attacked by frigates. So I'm like saying, no, I'm not gonna go land. I'm gonna go for exploration, and I'm gonna plant cities off coast. So only my capital is on land, and in hopes that if somebody wants to get in here into my land, I'm gonna just face defend with my capital, and I'm gonna use navy to defend. But I was like thinking like, Kek's not gonna attack me. He's too far to, and he doesn't really need to attack me. I'm already in bad shape. Baba has problems with Shumi, and Shumi has problems with Baba. Hey, Chinese Brie. I'm okay. So I kind of figure out, okay, I have time. I have time. So like, okay, this is like, screw this, like glass cannoning. We're just like glass cannoning. If somebody wants to get in here and kill me, fine. Right now I'm just gonna go infrastructure, I'm gonna go exploration, I'm gonna go plant a little bit more cities on islands, and I'm like gonna finish tradition, go colonialism, plant more cities, and like grow, build culture, build all of this stuff. And I'm gonna basically just sit in here and try to salvage this. And this is what I'm basically doing for the huge number of this game, right? Well, like huge amount of turns. Will Yoruus zoom out? Come on. Oh, this is a good shout. Okay, so this is how the demographics looks at around turn 100, right? So Kex is like slaughtering demographics. He's like slaughtering demographics right now. And like, wow, like I think like, oh boy, like what's gonna happen to Kex? Like, how can we even try to do anything to him? But I didn't pick up a scenario that happened later in the game. I was like thinking, look at Shumi. Like Shumi is top military. He's like first at science, first at approval, traditional aesthetics with all the beautiful wonders, you know, like Oracle, Great Lib, Petra, and all of the good stuff there. So I'm like thinking, okay, he should survive, right? Like he should give Baba trouble at some point of the game because his lead is really good. I was a little bit afraid about the hammers. Yes, I'm in the golden age, but I'm second at hammers with this horrible start. So I'm like thinking, okay, I do have something at least, like that's hammers, and the food should kick in later on. So I did plant my cities before turn 100, and I went for workshops first before universities. I kind of knew this is going to slow down my science, but at the same time I knew that I need workshops first so I can feed the cargo ships to my new cities. And I did that. I feed like my new cities that I planted 3 cities with colonialism, and I planted them totally like off land. So like this is a beautiful island in here. This is a beautiful island next to Kex. Yeah, it's a good spot on land, but as I said, I didn't want it to defend. Yeah, because this is recording, I can't remove that, sorry. Spooky twin. So I planted it like a cow, 1 cow island in here, 1 tall cow island, in hopes that, you know, if Kegs want to go for me at some point, he will not be able really to take the city because I'm gonna have fleet in here defending, right? And the 2 other cities are on this big island that I have north of my city, so I'm on like 5 cities. I planted my 3 cities before turn 100. So we're doing not that bad. Not that bad. Science is horrible. That's true. Like far away in science, but the rest of the demographics are slowly starting to kick in. The only problem really is the science. Like I do have the hammers, I do have the growth, uh, I do have the culture because I focus on culture quite a bit. And now it sounds strange, but without like additional stuff that you can get, obviously I was not aiming like for finishing freedom or anything, but I really hope that I can at least finish rationalist in a reasonable timing, which means like I could potentially go to space at around turn 190. And this is what I was aiming for, in hopes that uh, somehow, you know, like the first leader of the game was sort of like the science leader is Shumi, right? But I know like if Baba or like I knew that there's gonna be problem between Baba and Shumi. So if one of those guys would win, then it's gonna be like the next problem would be Kex, because his science is also slowed down because he's like Liberty, a million of cities. Yes, he's got Jews education, but he's gonna be missing a little bit of timings, especially like culture timings and all of that stuff. So he's also gonna be aiming for sort of 109ish space victory timing, maybe a little bit less depending on luck. So my hopes is like the Persian Zulus war is gonna be resolved, and then somehow we're gonna slow down Kex, and then maybe I can do something like win space around turn 190 or so, because this is basically like the timing after all of this disaster. And I'm like in a huge glass cannon mood. Totally glass cannon. So focusing totally on infrastructure, maximizing culture as much as possible, in hopes to like finish exploration as quickly as possible, and then go into rationalis. Now I think like finishing exploration was not really necessary to make it faster. I don't think that was a wise idea, because I burned my writers for around 800 culture to finish off exploration faster, and I don't really think that that was a correct decision. It seemed fine at that moment, but I'm not sure if that was the best idea. It definitely helped with growth, hammers, and gold, but maybe it would be a little bit better to delay that. I don't know. I don't know really. And like when really my culture will be maximized, then go for the good stuff. What's going on the map overall? Not much. Celts are here. We have sort of a non-aggression pact thanks to the great position of Zulus and Egypt. Lucky Strike is doing his Lucky Strike stuff. He even let Kex. You can see on the map here, like this little city in here. This city, like in this city, there's a Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so Kex capital is here, and Lucky Strike didn't even go in here to grab Great Libe. So Kex is on like 9 cities and 3 natural wonders with Fate from natural wonders, and Lucky Strike is here on 3 cities tradition. Very behind in science, focusing on culture. Shumi 4 city tradition here, Baba 6 city liberty, and Celts, I don't remember exactly tradition here, but I was not worried about Celts whatsoever. Those guys would fight. This guy would need to be stopped later on, and then me trying to do something. So let's skip on and move forward. Okay, this is basically, what is this? This is turn 138. This should be like a research lab timing, okay? And Shumi is at research labs, if I believe correctly, but this is like Baba timing right now. So Baba had a pretty good science, and Baba's gonna attack in like a couple of turns Shumi. So yeah, you can hear Shumi's, like you can read Shumi's explanation on the screen. So Baba was not going for research labs, and Shumi went for research labs in hopes he can defend. And Baba went for landship artillery push into Shumi, and it started around turn 140. And is this war already? It's not war already. It should be somewhere around this turn. I think this was this turn. Or the next turn. I'm not sure. Probably somewhere around in here. So Baba goes for Shumi, and in Cup, actually Shumi did was like he got overwhelmed. He got seriously. Thank you, Bok, for life, for the support, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So Shumi was basically like crushed. It's turn 142 and 144. There we go, 145. There we go, 147. Shumi loses first city. Then we've got turn. Then we have reload. Thank you, War. Turn 148. Turn 149. Next. Next city goes down. And his capital goes down on turn, I believe, like 150 something. 152 maybe. Another Resync. God. Nope. So it actually was okay, 153. So I believe all the war against Shumi was like 10 turns. 10 turns. Okay. Now I gotta say that I was, because you know, like Shumi was feeling, Shumi had quite a bit of tourism, so there was a lot of unhappiness. I was feeling two sides. Okay, I was feeling Persia. I was feeling Persia with happiness. I was feeling Shumi with a little bit of gold and oil. Didn't really help out that much, but it's like Shumi was saying like, okay, if you would give me a lot of gold, I could have defend against this. And I'm like, I don't want you to survive. I want you to survive maybe a little bit longer than 10 turns, but I don't want you to survive like for the rest of the game. That doesn't make sense to me, because if Shumi and Baba's gonna be locked in war, then I will have to deal with Kex alone, and I didn't want that to happen. So while they was going to war, I managed to finally get to research labs. I'm having my battleships done. I have exploration done. I have Forever Golden Age right now because I've got Freedom Golden Age. I've got a million of happiness. I've got a million of happiness right now, and I will have battleships. And I have Pact of Non-Aggression with Celt, so nobody except Baba can really attack into me. And Shumi is dead. I would like Shumi to survive a little bit longer, but he didn't. But that's sort of a risk I need to take right now. So the situation like changes. Okay, I'm finally ready to defend for a bit. I've got my research labs up. I've got my battleships as planned. I've got my exploration done. I'm going for rationals. I will not be able to finish any more of the stuff. And now I'm ready to do something. Okay, now I'm ready to do something. Celts don't really are in the game. Lucky Strike is definitely not in the game. I'm surprised that Kex didn't crush Lucky Strike. In the meantime, Kex is leading in science. Kex is leading in hammers. Well, now he's not leading in hammers because Baba acquired a new empire, so he's no longer leading in science. And he knows what's happening. Kex knows what's happening in here, and he should be preparing like crazy against somebody, against me or against Baba. So I wouldn't call like it was like a mind games on my side. Well, I was sort of trying to do a little bit of mind games, okay? A little bit of mind games because like Baba had a decision right now to make. He can't compete with space against Kex. Basically, like the order of winning right now, when like Shumi could have went to space first quite easily if he wouldn't be attacked. Then the next person who goes to space is Kex. Then me, maybe, or Baba, if we would be like on a science race. Probably Baba first, then me, but who knows. So I kind of knew that if Baba will not go to war versus Kex and is gonna go to war versus me, Kex gonna win, right? So, and I didn't really had any talks with Baba what he's gonna do next. I was assuming that in Baba's brain he's gonna recognize that Kex is the first problem. I don't know if he's seen my map, but I really was not in a position to do anything against Kex. I could only take his maybe 3 cities. I could take his 3 cities. I could take Hierakonpolis, I could take Memphis, and I could take the coastal cities. This is the only stuff that I could have done to Kex to slow him down. So I started to do that, and I declared war because I had city-state allies. I didn't want Kex to buy off my city-state allies. I declared war on him, and I started pummeling on Hierakonpolis. And so for 2 reasons. I want to slow down Kex a little bit because I'm not sure what Baba's gonna do. And at the same time, I want to put in information in Baba's brain that I'm going to war versus Kex. So now the big question is what Baba's gonna do. Is Baba going to go for Kex right now, or if Baba's gonna go for me? I don't want him to go for me. I want him to go for Kex. So kind of me declaring war on Kex, I hope that's going to be seen from Baba's perspective like, okay, Yoruus thinks that Kex is a bigger problem than me, right? So maybe there's something to it, and I'm going to deal with Yoruus later on when Kex is going to be dealt with. But there is a problem, and there's like 2 problems. The first problem is Lucky Strike. The first problem is Lucky Strike because Lucky Strike dies in like 5 turns. Okay, so Baba goes for a Lucky Strike, and I don't know where the war actually began. Yeah, Prora. Turn 160, Lucky Strike finishes Prora. I'm like, Kex is preparing, but he's not preparing well enough. Just wanted to point that out. He's not preparing well enough. So turn 160, Lucky Strike gets Prora. Turn 161, Baba declares war on Lucky Strike. 1 turn after Lucky Strike gets Prora, Baba declares war. It's turn 161. And Lucky Strike is dead. Where is Lucky Strike dead? Lucky Strike just got crushed instantly. There we go. 65 or 64? Let's see. This is the end of turn 64. Yeah, turn 164. 2 returns. Lucky Strike gets crushed in 3 turns, and now Baba is sitting on 3 capitals. Full honor, statue of Zeus, thank you very much Mr. Shumi, all the wonders that are in Shumi's capital, or the cultural wonders that are in Lucky Strike's capital, Prora that is in Lucky Strike capital, and Kex is not prepared well. Okay, Kex is not prepared well at all. And of course Baba declares war on Kex on turn, what was it, 165? Something around turn 165, I believe. Let's see exactly when is the declaration of war. Maybe 68? Come on, where is it? This is Baba's land. ZZZ. Yeah, it was. I think it was like around turn 167 or something like that. Now, before I'm gonna go to like analyze that, I went for Sydney Opera House and bomb shelters first because I kind of knew I'm gonna get nuked like crazy. I don't have uranium nowhere. I have no uranium nowhere. There's uranium in one city state, but somewhere in the game, what's happening is like I assumed I assumed that we play with sort of like this gentleman's agreement that we always play with, which is I think people just totally forget about it. That when you like, I have the gold, right? So Baba is starting to buy off city state because he had some happiness problems. I'm buying them back, and at some point I'm buying off a city state that has uranium because I kind of think that I need nuclear missiles to defend against such a big land army that Baba will have on my borders soon, because Kex is like losing the war in a couple of turns. And so I need bomb shelters, I need nuclear missiles. I don't have my own uranium, but I want to make at least 2 nuclear missiles before I'm gonna get nuked to pieces. And but Baba like, so I buy off Belgrade, which has uranium, and I'm like, okay, I'm done, I'm finishing off turn. So the next turn I could buy off more city states. Well, I could finish a quest for a city state and I could declare war on Baba, right? Like giving him an option to react. And he does react in a way that I could have reacted before, but I assumed like a gentleman's agreement, right? So he buys off Belgrade and declares war on me instantly. And I have no access to uranium whatsoever. So like idea to go for nukes died for defensive, and now nukes would be awesome, right? Nukes would be awesome. But Kex is losing work quite badly, and I don't know how many actually turns it took Baba to finish off Kex. Well, it's pretty fast, like turn 71, so that's probably 4 turns of war. It was like 4 turns of war or so. I think like Kex died in how many turns? Yeah, that's another one. And that's capital soon. Yeah, another city. Uh-oh. Another reload? Yeah. Shumi's dead, huh? $174, so yeah, somewhat like Kex lasted for 9 turns. 9 turns or so. That's how much Kex lasted basically. So now I've got Baba problem at my borders. Okay, now I've got Baba problem at my borders. I do have faith, but I don't have culture. I mean, like, I've got gold. I've got a lot of gold. I will be in a golden age, but I've got several problems right now. Like, in my brain, like, we had a break because Steam went down, and I was like talking with Baba. Before I took the break, in between like the last part, I was like talking to him, was like chatting, right? And he was like saying, I don't know if I can get to you in time to stop you from going to space. And I'm like going, well, to be fair and square, I give you like 90% chance. Maybe not 90%, but if I would be voting, putting my money on who's gonna win this game, I would say that you're gonna win, because I don't have freedom. I'm missing social policies, and I try to compensate the social policies really early in the game, because as soon as I knew that I'm gonna go for exploration, I knew that I'm most probably not gonna be able to finish up ideology. I was like hoping that I can get rationalism done, and I don't have rationalism done still. And I invested heavy into culture. I maintained two culture city-state allies, the only two on the map throughout the whole course of the game. I was putting quests and money into them all of the time, merchants into them all of the time. I went for Hermitage first. Like my cities, instead of like my expansions before, like libraries, they were building, like amphies and opera houses, just to go into Hermitage as fast as possible. I was working my guilds as fast as possible. Uh, uh, I went for Sydney Opera House. I went for CN Tower. So I really tried to maximize my culture as much as possible. And I was at this stage of the game. I had tradition done, exploration done. I had 3 points in freedom for the longer golden ages, so I'm like in the forever golden age also. That's also an investment because I'm like in the forever golden age for a very long time. And I'm missing like last policy in freedom. And I'm missing it by another like 5 turns or so. So in 5 turns, I'm gonna be able to use my faith on scientists, and I was hoping that I'm gonna get there in time to have all of the techs, but still the timing is like I need to survive for around 15 or 20 turns to be able to go to space because I cannot buy parts. And Baba was talking like, I don't think I can get to you in time, and I'm like saying to him, oh man, of course you can get in time in here because I don't have freedom, I don't have rationalism finished yet, I'm missing text, I will not be able to buy parts, so I will have to hard build them. I have no access to to nuclear missiles. You're gonna have nukes onto me, so there's like a huge chance that you're gonna just crush me. You just need a lucky nuke or like lucky 2 nukes and you're just gonna destroy me, most probably. So if I would have to put my money on somebody at this point of the game, I would say like it goes to Baba, right? That Baba's gonna win. So we had that break, and I said that like, okay, if you don't want to play anymore, it would be cool to finish off this game because this was a really long game. But if you don't want to, because I need like a 30 minutes of break because Steam was dead, so I figure I'm gonna just go out and pick up my wife from her parents. So I'm saying like when I'm gonna get back, it's okay. If you don't want to play, I can concede right now because I think you're gonna win. But it would be cool to just fight this out. So I get back, and he wants to fight this out. So he finishes off Egypt, and I'm like cranking out as much military as possible. There's like one thing that I had to like. People on stream was like saying, use your fleet for something. Like, use your fleet for something. I am using my fleet for something. I want to explain that one more time. Now, Baba, after taking, like Shumi, and after taking India, has 3 capitals, has 1 million of cities, and he has honor, alright? He's got a lot of good stuff. Now, my fleet is needed to defend my land because Baba can get to my land with his land army faster than I can use my fleet to go to his side. Not only that, I cannot reinforce my fleet because it takes like 12 turns to get to his land. And even if I could do something, I would maybe take 1 city, maybe 2, if he wants to defend that side, or like just nuke my fleet, or use planes that he has multiple of, or rocket artilleries. And even if I take 1 city, it doesn't mean nothing because he can like take my coastal cities, take my capital. I don't care because he's got so much land army. He's just gonna go there and take my capital, and I will not have the fleet to defend. And on top of that, he was building fleet. Like, he's got 1 million of hammers right now. He's got twice my hammers at this stage of the game. So I'm sure he divided, like his cities where coastals were building ships, and the inland stuff was just cranking out military, because he decided he wants to resolve this military. And I was like even saying to him, man, I think you can even go to space before me. Like, you just take Kex out, you can like sit around there, just use your land army there. He's got order down, he's got a lot of faith, a lot of cool wonders. So you can just, you know, like throw out the land army at me and you can go into space in the meantime. So I'm keeping my fleet and building as much military as possible. And of course Baba shows up here very, very soon. Where are we? Where are we? Where's Baba beautiful army? Okay, this is basically like my land. Before Baba's army is getting in here. This is... I've got a lot of troops. I'm not that far behind him in troops, you know. But I need to crank out, like, I need to hard build. I need to hard build parts. I've got quite a bit of battleships. I'm building missile cruisers. I'm using gold to buy as much troops as possible. The problem is land army. Now this is the problem. He's got planes, he's gonna have nuclear missiles, and he have so much land army. And though I do have battleships, not all the tiles are accessible by battleships, right? So he can easily take my capital. And I was like, I was prepared for that. I was like, okay, no problem. He can take my capital, but as long as my fleet's not gonna get nuked, I will be able to launch parts from my second city, because Rotterdam, if my fleet's not gonna get nuked, he cannot take with land army. There's just no place in here. He would need to have fleet in here, and he would need to nuke my my fleet. So I was like, as you can see, my fleet is spread out because I'm terrified of nukes that gonna drop on my fleet and destroy units instantly. And I'm just like building more ships, more ships, more ships, because I know he's gonna take my capital. There's no possibility to defend my capital against nukes. And like, I could pass nuclear non-proliferation in somewhere around 8 turns, but it's going to be too late. In 8 turns, probably I'm going to lose my capital. So I will not be able to defend my capital for that long. And this is exactly what happens. I'm like, his army shows up in here. My capital gets nuked once, second time, before his land army gets in here. So all my land army is like mostly destroyed, and then his huge land army shows up on my borders, you know, like bombers, rocket artillery, tanks, and all of that stuff. And it's like, it's not going that well, right? Like, I'm starting to defend, trying to not lose fleet to a nuke. His army finally shows up and gets a surround. I'm able to launch, I believe, like 2 parts. I think I'm able to launch 2 parts, or maybe only 1 part, before I'm gonna lose my capital. See, now this is the problem. Okay, I still have my capital, and I'm probably gonna be able to launch even more parts off of my capital. So I believe I'm gonna launch like 4 parts before I'm gonna lose my capital. I think I was able to launch 4 parts before I lost my capital. And I cannot defend this. He's got great generals, full honor, you know, like, so those generals just like go in there. There's no way to defend my capital against this. This is like, there's nothing I can do to defend my capital. Nothing. The only thing that I could have done would be nuclear missiles, but I don't have access to uranium. I would gladly build nuclear missiles to nuke his army and keep nuking his army, but I don't have access to that. I don't have access to oil, like enough oil to actually be able to get enough planes to destroy that. And I definitely don't have access to Honor 2. Well, he had enough generals though. And Persia Golden Age, so that's 3 move general Shumi, so it almost acts like full honor, but thank you for clarifying that. So I can't defend my capital. There's no way. I know I'm gonna lose it, and I'm kind of prepared for that. The only thing that I am worried about right now is either my parts getting nuked or most of my fleet getting nuked, because his cities are basically enraged to nuke my fleet. If like a couple of lucky nukes gonna hit on my fleet and all of that stuff, it's just gonna be dead, because I have no way to defend my capital. He can nuke my land army, he can general into my land. There's like a million of workers just like stepping everywhere. I can't even kill the workers, you know. But I'm trying to pick off unit after unit after unit and hold my capital for as long as possible. And then something awkward happens, if I remember correctly. There's one thing that I wanted to show you up. This is the capital. Okay. I'm gonna play this turn, alright? Because this turn gave me so much hope. I was really stressed out at this turn, because you know Baba is super fast, right? And I'm gonna lose the capital next turn. But the point that I'm afraid of, you see how much land army he has. There's so many XComs in here. I would like to save the battleship from my city. I need to do so much stuff in this particular turn, because he has a nuke near me, and he can nuke my fleet. That is, look at this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I'm like a nuke in here, and like 50% of my fleet is dead. All right, and I'm gonna play this out. I think this is this turn.
No, you cannot. It's against the rules.
And there's also part that I want to launch. And there we go.
Let's try to leave this awkward place. Let's go. Wow.
This is this turn or the next turn? Okay, this is done.
Okay.
No, this is not this turn. This is next turn. This is next turn. 184. Yeah, this is this turn, I believe. I want to launch this to space as quickly as possible, and I probably want to move away the fleet. There we go. This is this turn. Look at this. He nuked himself. Okay?
Well, that's not good.
You don't want to know.
Well,
how did that happen? So I'm like at this turn 185. I'm like, this could work. Okay, like this could work. Instead of nuking my fleet, instead of nuking a part, he nuked himself, because you know, like the map backed out on him. He moved quickly to nuke, so he, you know, like select the nuke. He moves on the map, and the map starts to roll over when he drops the nukes, and he nukes his army. So I'm like super happy. I'm like thinking, okay, that's great. Not only like I don't care about my capital, I don't need it anymore. I launched 4 parts already, right? He nukes his army, so there is a chance that I can retake my capital. He gives me access to Oxford University that I can build and finish off my particle physics. So in 6 turns I go to space. 6 turns, most probably 6 turns I go to space. 6 turns from now. But I was not prepared for plan B. Okay, I was definitely not prepared for plan B. Like, this push was over, but it's not the problem in here. Okay, this is definitely not the problem. I would like to see one particular thing in here. Yeah, there we go. Edinburgh is captured by Persia. Okay? And this is the problem. Right? The next turn, Baba had plan B. Yeah, why do I need to run him? I do. But he's got plan B. He takes Kelt's capital. Drops 2 nukes. Bam, bam. 1 turn. His capital is dead. And now I have a problem. Okay? Baba gets a free AI capital. So I look at this. I'm not even looking right now at my capital because like it didn't even get into that information didn't even get into my brain yet. Okay, it was there, but like look at that. Okay, city of Amsterdam has been damaged. City of Amsterdam has been damaged, right? And I'm like, it's like what's going on? I'm like, no, god damn it! Like I'm not even looking. I'm not even looking at the right side of the map when this is happening. Okay, so. He can't take the city with the giant death robot in here, but I've got no units in here. I'm not able to shoot anything. He uses another general, just like boom general, access to the railroad, and
shit.
GG. Right? It's like, oh, it was like, no! I was like, no! Yeah. This is like, no, 11 and a half of hour of a game, and it ends like this. I'm like, whoa. That was like basically, yeah, basically like GG. So, Baba gets like a total crushing domination victory. But I'm pretty happy about this game. I'm like really super happy about this game. Yeah, that was like, well, clever win, yeah. Well, clever, yeah. AI, like it didn't even came to my mind. Like we let Celts be not relevant in this game, and that was like a horrible. It was 5 turns. No problem. 5 turns, Shumi. If like Celts would have the capital, it's like no problem. 5 turns, I'm in space. He can't go to space anymore in here. Shumi, so don't even say that I was not close. I was pretty much close. No problem. Like, he just took a free Celts capital. If Celts would stay in the game and, I don't know, try to do something, win for themselves, just not leave the capital to AI to die instantly, this game might end it a little bit better. Shumi, don't take this bullshit in here. Come on. With a real player you can talk. With the real player knows what's cooking. He's just not sitting in there waiting to, fleet get in his capital to just, like be killed in 1 turn. Now, don't put it like that, man. This is like, you're talking nonsense right now. You're talking nonsense. So that was a problem. Like, that was a problem. That get into my mind too late, basically. Maybe I could have used at least a little bit of fleet to defend there, or put a little bit more attention to Celt's capital. So I'm not sure if they would be able. But anyways, at the end it was like Celt's capital gone, and I was too slow to react even like remotely closely. But that's like all nukes. Like, I could try to surround my capital, but I can't surround my capital against nukes. Those units gonna be just wiped often here, and I don't have a frontal city. So GG Baba, like full domination, full domination victory. So full domination victory. But anyways, there was like an excellent game. I think like for the matter of nonsense that happened in the start of the game for me, like losing Great Live, losing Petra and all of this stuff, I still think that I choose the correct route to at least try to do something in this game. At least have a slim chance to grab a victory. So, concerning the start and all the things that happened, I think it was pretty good. That was pretty good. So, that was pretty good, I believe. Anyways, GG. Thank you for the game, everybody. That was like excellent game. I really liked it. In the end, very long, but very cool game. And what can I say? If you haven't watched the game, Watch the game. The link should be in here. So, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Best wishes. Yoruus out.